Ancient Greece, Part 1. Geography. Greece is in one very large peninsula, located in southern Europe and into the Mediterranean Sea. A large mainland, Peloponnese, Attica, Thrace, and Thessaly. There are 3,000 islands scattered through the Mediterranean Sea and Aegean Sea. 80% of the country is mountainous with 9,300 miles of coastline. The agricultural output was different. Animals include fresh goat, fish, and lamb. Crops, olive, grapes, and indigo. Their economy was trade-based, therefore extensive connections with other civilizations. Ancient Greece was never fully united. Politically independent city-states developed, shared a common language and religion, but often went to war with each other. The Minoans, Archaeology, 1901, Sir Arthur Evans. Located on the island Crete in the Mediterranean Sea, an isolated island protected by the sea from invaders. Extremely mountainous and not enough fertile soil. Without fertile soil, they relied on trade-based economy. They exported olives, oil, grapes and wine, fish, and manufactured goods. Imports were wheat, rice, and wood. Their biggest trading partner was Egypt, who called them people from the island in the middle of the sea. Politically ruled by a king who was elected by nobility to serve for life. Acted as a CEO, negotiated trade, set rates for exchange. Commanded a large navy for trade, not war, merchant navy. Lived in the palace of Knossos, located in the Minoan capital. Social structure. Classes were divided but loosely structured. All Minoans lived a comfortable life. Wealth based on skill, merit, not land ownership. Social mobility was a real possibility. Women seemed to be treated as equals to men. Sport. A major role reflected the very open, equal, and physical aspects of civilization. Art reflected small and individual forms of expression, focused on nature and human forms involved in everyday life. Emphasized beauty, color, and elegance, an example of art for art's sake. Accomplishments. The Minoans were skilled inventors and engineers. Structures reflect a prosperous and peaceful civilization. Roads, heating, plumbing, drainage, toilets, baths. Religion, the most unique aspect of the civilization. Matriarchal, female-centered, women were key to society. Monotheistic, had only one god, single deity was all-powerful. Nature-based, religion headed by another goddess, Mother Nature. Believed she could control their natural elements. Had rituals based on superstitious fear of natural disaster. Exaggerated preoccupation with fertility. Ability to bear and birth children, and virility. Potency and power, manliness. Sacred symbol, double-headed axe, snakes, bull. Ritual locations, trees, caves, stalagmites. Signs that human sacrifice was used in an effort to please the gods and prevent natural disasters, characteristics to the region. Priests and priestesses were very powerful. End of the Minoan civilization. 3 possibilities. 1. Natural disaster. Tectonic activity, earthquakes caused a tsunami. 2. Internal disorder. A power struggle, nobles versus priests. Pressure mounted when gods could not be appeased. External invasion. Left weak by civil war and were attacked from mainland, Mycenaeans. Most likely a combination of all 3. Archaeology. Excavations at Crete began in 1900, specifically Knossos. Led by British archaeologist Arthur Evans. Found actual evidence of the Minoans, one of the most important finds of the century. Evans discovered the palace of King Minos in Knossos. The Minoans were a Bronze Age society, but there were very little weapons found. The Mycenaeans. Located mainland on the Peloponnese Peninsula, extremely mountainous, but the one area with farming, flax, barley, and figs. Competition was fierce, and therefore wars were frequent. Mountains worked against a unified state, since it was so isolated with pockets of people. Each state was politically and socially focused on warfare, used the mountains to their advantage. City-states built on hilltops and surrounded by walls. Archaeology, 1876. Heinrich Schliemann, a German businessman and archaeologist. He was inspired by Homer's The Iliad and the Odyssey. He is a literalist and therefore believed in the stories, events, locations of the works to be historically accurate. His quest to prove their accuracy led him to excavate at Troy and Mycenae. Economy, trade-based and relied on production of artisans, metalwork, jewelry. Imperialism, they fought to expand their land. Political structure, divided into independent city-states ruled by a king, known as Wannacks. An example of a Waynex is Agamemnon. Lived in fortified palaces delegated to nobles. There were more forts than communities. Social structure was strict and rigid. The few ruled the many. Large number of peasants, serfs, to do the farm work, and prisoners of war performed manual work. Art and architecture. Mycenaean art was less elegant but larger. Architecture and construction were the main forms. Megaron, great hall, rectangular columns in open air. Other forms include ceramics, frescoes, and weapons, and the subjects of their art were portraits, weapons, labor, gods, battles, and myth. Artistic style was stiff and symmetrical. Religion. Polytheistic and myth-based stories. Gods would form the basis of Greek mythology. End of the Mycenaeans. By the 12th century, most cities had fallen for three reasons: civil war, internal disorder, war between city-state way of life, drought and famine, external invasion, internally weak, attractive target, and easy target. The Mycenaeans fell to the Dorians, who brought Greece into a period known as the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages. The Dorians were a group of invaders from Asia who swept through the Hellespont into Greece. Dorians were successful because they possessed iron weapons, easy to defeat a Bronze Age society. They were fierce, barbaric people who dedicated all their energy towards their militaristic powerhouse. They preyed upon societies that were internally weak. With their superiority, the Dorians could easily take over Greece. Majority of population lived in Peloponnese and lived a regular life. A small number of Greeks fled to Attica, where they struggled to maintain their way of life. Characteristics of the Dark Ages. Very few written history, only accidentally preserved. Society was unstable with very little political organization. The trade system collapsed and economy vanished. Historical ages. Golden Age. A period of rich scientific, technological, and artistic growth with plenty of evidence of the time. Dark Age. A bleak period of despair, focused on survival and subsistence. Therefore, little evidence remains. Not a lot of time for artistic purposes. Golden Age. Historical period of prosperity and expansion. Strong, stable government provides safety and order for population. Economic prosperity. Thriving, healthy trade industry. Money, comfort for majority. A time of invention and discovery, exploration, an expansion of cultural and artistic expression, reflects the peace and prosperity. Dark Age. Historical period of fear and instability. No political stability equals chaos equals dangerous society. People lived a life of sustenance, a day-to-day existence, unpredictable and scary. A time of stagnation, no time for growth. No cultural expression, no time, energy, or money to support trivial pursuits. Age of Transition. The rise of the city-state. Polis is the term for city. Greece. In 800 BC, Greece slowly began to turn into well-organized city-states. The city took shape for only defensive purposes, and as economies developed, communities developed. The largest city was the metropolis, or mother city. The center of the city was the acropolis, or high city. The lowest was the agora, or marketplace. In the early stages, religions were ruled by monarchy, where kings, often leaders in war, ruled and acted as judges in disputes. Variations occurred in different regions. Amount of power, length of reign, method of ascension. Evolution of the government. Aristocracy, one social class. Government ruled by nobility, entire class of elites who governed in their own best interests, old and traditional. Oligarchy, 3 to 5. Government ruled by the few, handful of the most powerful and influential, strict and rigid control. Tyranny, 1. Government ruled by a single leader by popular choice, closest thing to our modern-day politics, promises and popularity, vulnerable to outside influence. Democracy, many, ruled by people's representative, was a direct democracy, ineffective idealism. The Greek polis, first examples of effective governments that weren't monarchies. Created stable societies, therefore allowed prosperity, innovation, expansion of city-states, therefore progress and development. The individual concept exaggerated the sense of disunion already caused by geography. Result, different ways of life and philosophies. Athens versus Sparta.